as I'm sure you figured out pretty quickly, is that you are going to be fixing capitalization and you're going to be adding punctuation. Let's see if this little pen works here. So you need to add a comma right after Tuesday and right after the day. So that'd be the same for all of these. Comma after Wednesday, comma after Monday, comma after Saturday, comma after Friday, comma after Sunday, and comma after 31 and 2 and 23 and 2 and 4. And you would want to capitalize the T in Tuesday and the J in January. So, capitalizing all of the words, and you're putting 2 commas in there. So make sure you only have 2 commas. Okay, then for the bottom section here, let's try different colors, try blue. For the bottom section here, you had 1 error in each sentence. So in this first sentence, you probably found that the comma after Tuesday was missing, so I have to insert that comma in there. And then for the second one, there's this extra comma after January, so that's rubbish. We don't need that. And then in this third one, your commas were good, but December was not capitalized. So once you fix those 3 items, then page 1 is done. Okay, page 2, addresses. So with each of these addresses, you're making the same corrections. If you got them right for one, then you probably got them right for all. So in this first one, you would capitalize pretty much all of the words. That does include the B in boulevard, the S in street, the D in drive. That's usually the one that people forget. Capitalize all of the words. Okay. You will have a period after the abbreviation, so make sure you added that mark of punctuation in there. And then the other mark of punctuation is the comma in between the city and the state. And voila, your address is fixed. So if you made those same 6 corrections for all of them, then you're good. Okay. Page 3, as I mentioned, there is nothing to do. The only thing that you could do if you wanted is you could write out or type out your conjunctions next to the fanboys if you wanted to make a note of those. You will need to know those helping verbs and conjunctions for quiz in a couple of weeks. So the more you can kind of look at those and review those, the better. For page 4, I asked you to start using that helping verb knowledge and try to identify the helping verb. Now, I didn't tell you to do anything to the action verb in the sentence, just the helping verb. So if you have more than one word identified, then make sure to fix that as I talk about these. So for example, in number 1, your action verb, what good old Jason is doing, would be play. But I only asked about the helping verb. So the helping verb is will. So that would be your helping verb for number 1. Oops. And then for number 2, what is the surgeon doing? Well, he's operating, but the helping verb that helps out that action verb is has. Just kind of see where this is going. So all of these, little words that are encompassed in the song up above on page 3, these are the ones that should be marked in some way on your document, and you can underline, highlight, change the color, whatever makes you happy. Just make sure that you have the correct verbs identified. So typically, as I'm sure you notice, the helping verb comes right before the main verb. So main verb and a little helping verb right in front of it. So it helps out the main verb in the sentence. So those are your 10 helping verbs that you hopefully found. Okay, so for Wednesday, for today's remote learning, I'm going to walk you through page 5 and page 6. Page 5 and page 6 have to do with subjects and predicates. So the subject of a sentence tells who or what the sentence is about. So in other words, who or what is performing the action, or who or what is in a state of being, in a certain state of being. The predicate of a sentence tells what the subject does or is. So in these examples that I have, I highlighted the subject in one color, in yellow, and the predicate in another color, in green. So if you have a sentence like, the green grapes grew on the vine, then if we were to sort of split that sentence between the subject and the predicate, we have the subject, which is the green grapes. They are who or what is performing the action. So in this case, they're a what, obviously. And then we have, what are the green grapes doing? So their action is they grew on the vine. So with all of these sentences, made them very simple sentence constructions. So you're kind of doing the same thing. You're taking the sentence, you're sort of dividing it in a certain location so that you're dividing it between the person or thing that the sentence is about, the person or thing doing the action, and the action itself. So that means that the first word of the predicate is always going to be some kind of verb. So that could be an active verb, like grew or sang, or it could be a helping verb, was, is, am, etc. So if you can locate that verb, then that's a pretty handy guide to figure out the separation point between where the subject stops and the predicate starts. Now, for the purposes of this activity, I want you to understand that the whole sentence is going to be highlighted. So it's just a matter of deciding whether it's part of this subject bit or whether the predicate has started. And then I have some instructions on how to highlight if you're not quite sure how to do that. But let's take a look at these 10 sentences here. So just to kind of verbally explain the first one, and hopefully this helps make the rest clear, we have, a swarm of bees was buzzing around the hive. So we know that our subject is going to be somewhere up here, so who or what is performing the action? So starting at the beginning of the sentence, who or what is performing the action? And then, once you get the who or the what, then you think, well, what are they doing? So once you start seeing a helping verb or a main verb, that's kind of your signal. This must be the beginning of the predicate. And then that action, whatever it is they are doing, will be in that different color. So that's my very, very serious hint about how to diagram number 1 properly. Okay, for page 6 here, all I want you to do is just identify. Here you have a fragment. None of these are complete sentences. None of these phrases have a subject and a predicate. Each one of them is either a subject or a predicate. So, if you read the sentence and you say, well, this part of the sentence is telling me who or what the sentence is about, it's not telling me what the action is, then you would put subject, and you would write out the word subject next to it. On the other hand, if you read this phrase and you say, I don't know, I don't really know who or what is doing the action. I don't have a subject here, but I do know what the action is. So if you know the action and you don't know who's doing it, then that would be a predicate, and you would just write out predicate next to it. So that is all for pages 5 and 6, and I'm going to go over pages 5 and 6 in tomorrow's video, in Thursday's video. And as long as you check your answers with me and everything's looking good, then